Hey everybody! I have one of my favorite shirts on, and actually got this at the thrift store. Isn't that funny? But I I think I'm spoiling you, cat people, because here's yet another cat video. But I was having a conversation with somebody. That's what kind of inspired this. So, what is your cat hiding from you? Now, I would say, from the odds are, for all of you that watch this video and own cats, if they are over the age of 8, 9 years of age, your cat is probably hiding something from you. Okay. If your cat is into the 10, 11, 12, the stats show that they're really hiding something from you. So, what is that? Well, it's the most undiagnosed, untreated condition in veterinary medicine. And I say that, but every vet I've ever said it to has always agreed with me. And let's look at it and see if we need to make some changes for your cat. Okay, so we always talk about how dogs and cats are different, and you cat folks, you know it, so I don't have to get into that. I remember sitting in a lecture, it was a feline behavioralist, and she's going through all the reasons that cats get stressed. And I whoever I was with, I remember saying, "Holy cow, just take that list and just add just life to it, because that's how stressed cats are." And so, probably one of the reasons why I just stick with dogs and don't have cats. But anyway, one of the things that comes up with cats is that cats are good at hiding their symptoms. When they're injured or they're hurt or not feeling well, they try their best to not let you know. Now, dogs are kind of like us men. When we're sick or we're hurt, we let everybody know. We're just dying if we have COVID. We're just dying if we have a cold. And you women tend to just kind of trudge along and do what you got to get done and all. And I'm being general here, but I think most of you men would agree, and you wives would agree. That's kind of how it is. Well, that's how it is with dogs and cats. And with arthritis, a dog usually will start showing some signs. You can usually tell something's up. Cats, though, are so great at disguising it, and it comes out in other behaviors. Okay, I used to joke that the women keep trudging along with their illness, but it shows up in other ways that sometimes got me in trouble. So not even going to go there. But cats will do that. They'll actually change behaviors, and you still don't know that they're actually in pain. And probably one of the most popular myth or just an idea out there is veterinarians will hear cat owners say, "Well, my cat finally is trained and she doesn't get up on the counters anymore. And finally, she's listening to me." From what I understand about cats, no, they're not listening to you. Now, why are they not jumping up on the counters and jumping off the counters? Well, one very good reason, which is pretty much proven now, is that they're in pain. Their joints hurt either for making the jump or, worse yet, jumping down. So that's why they don't do it. Litter box changes. They don't use a litter box anymore. Well, either it could be the litter box is down a flight of stairs that they don't want to do, so they'd rather go in the corner. Or the litter box nowadays you have some of these litter boxes. They're so tall that the cat has to climb in there, and that hurts to do that. So again, I guess I'll just find a spot in the corner over by the rug. Um, it gets misdiagnosed as all kinds of issues, stress issues, bladder issues, all kinds of things. Very often, though, it can very well be the pain of arthritis. The cat is now starting to be a real recluse and just kind of hides under the bed, doesn't come out anymore. That's a sign that they don't feel well, and it could just be a sign of pain. Or they've gotten aggressive, the opposite of it. They're actually pretty aggressive now, and they were never that way. Again, if you're hurting, especially getting picked up, those kind of things. So it's behavior changes that a good veterinarian is looking at with geriatric cats to see, are any of those behaviors showing signs of pain, because they're not going to be like a dog and come limping into the exam room. They just won't. At least most cats won't. So that brings up the point that, okay, it's so undiagnosed and untreated. Definitely you have to look at the subtle behaviors of your cat, the behavior changes. Are they trying to hide something from you? Because they're not trying to tell you something, they're trying to hide it from you. Now, there aren't as many pain meds and the multimodal approach to arthritis in dogs. There's lots of great options, including Hills makes a great joint diet that I saw work so many times. It's just a great diet. But the interesting was, now I was in sales, so I noticed that the JD, the Joint Diet for Cats, which was just an amazing diet, all the studies proved it was great, everything. We were seeing good results, but not nearly the amount of cats like it was the amount of dogs. Now, one, it's diagnosed a lot quicker with dogs. And but the other was that when I talked to veterinarians, and this really made a lot of sense, when they did diagnose arthritis, it was usually in an older cat, and they would run some blood work. And guess what? They would find out that the kidneys were in stage 1 or stage 2, or even worse, stage 3 renal failure. Because again, the kidneys are so well designed that they will hide their destruction, their demise, until almost 3/4 of the kidneys are gone. That's why that blood work is so important, and SDMA testing is so important to catch it early. But what would happen is, because of the arthritis, they would catch the renal disease. Well, the renal disease was much more deadly than the arthritis. So they would go on a renal diet like KD. They wouldn't go on a joint diet like JD. So JD really, for such a great joint diet, it just really didn't get utilized because, again, usually it was an older cat, which makes sense. And usually, because of the prevalence of renal issues, they would be going on a special diet, not on the JD. Does that make sense? There was a study that was done. I wish I could remember the university now, but they were doing a renal study. They had 100 client-owned cats. And of course, they're doing a renal study, so they're taking blood work, they're taking x-rays, all that good stuff. And this was a renal study, not an arthritis study. 100 cats, client-owned. Guess how many were diagnosed, looking at the slides, with osteoarthritis? Guess how many out of 100? 90. Now, and I think the age, they were all over 11 years old. Okay, so that's a lot of cats out there over 11 years old. Okay. The interesting thing was, when they went back to the clients and talked to the cat owners about their cat and all the, everything about their cat, not one suspected their cat had arthritis, but yet the x-rays proved it. So now that's just one study, but it really does fit into what doctors see all the time in clinics. Cats are starting to change their behavior. The clients get used to it. Maybe they'll even say, she's old, she's slowing down. Hey, we all are. But they're just not guessing. Hey, maybe she's actually in pain and needs some management of pain. So back to my story about the KD not or the JD not selling for cats. It was all because, what's more important, a joint diet or a renal diet? Obviously, the renal diet. So what Hills Nutritionist did, it's been out for a number of years now. And again, I am not being paid by Hills. I'm not reading their script. This is just off the top of my head, the experience I had. They finally decided, we're going to take JD off the market. We're going to take the components of JD and put it in a KD diet. So we'll have a KD JD diet. I forget what are they calling it now? Prescription diet, KD plus JD cat food. I think that's still the name. Hills is notorious for changing names of their therapeutic diets, but that's what they did. Now, a renal diet, it's everything a renal diet you'd expect. There's KD, there's early stage KD, there's some flavors of KD. It's all optimizing protein level, restricting phosphorus and calcium to a level to reduce the workload on the kidneys, adding omega-3s for anti-inflammatory properties, all the things, adding even broken down amino acids to KD to make sure that cat's getting all the support for developing muscle, even though they're in cachexia, in a state of muscle loss due to disease. So everything that's in KD is in this diet, but it also has the omega-3s, especially EPA is the canine, DHA is the feline omega-3 that actually, sure, it's anti-inflammatory, omega-3s are, But what it does, it actually goes right to the genes that are producing the agrokinase enzymes, and it downregulates them. So they're still there. You can't change that. They're set in what their purpose is, but we can up and down regulate with nutrients. It's called nutrigenomics. I did a video on it, I think, with the canine arthritis diet like last year. But the point is, it's a natural way of saying, let's address and break the cycle of pain and damage, all with omega 3s. There's no glucosamine, anything like that in there. Um, and it actually is inverted. You're getting more omega 3s than 6s. Omega 6s are great for skin and coat and lots of good purpose, but they increase the inflammation. So here's an example where we're going to use high levels of omega 3s, and not just omega 3s. You know, there's all those different fatty acids. The DHA is the omega 3 that affects the feline's cycle of degradation. So, and again, with dogs, it's EPA. The JD canine, real popular, used all the time, and does great. The cats are missing out on this diet. So that's the reason I'm making this short video, just for those of you that have a cat. If they're 8, 9, 10 years of age, they're probably in some early stage, uh, maybe early stage renal disease. That's why blood works so good, but arthritis as well. So be really alert to behavior changes. If they're making behavior changes, it's not because you finally have them trained or anything like that. It could, and it could be stress. I mean, again, I know that's part of a feline life, but it could very well be the pain of arthritis. And there's nothing wrong with feeding KD plus JD if you're just feeding it for the joint benefits. If you have a cat that is on KD, talk to your vet. If it's an older cat, you might really want to think about using the JD as well, because again, we can address the renal disease and the joint degradation at the same time with this diet. It does come in dry, it does come in canned, and I would say, talk to your vet. Your vet can call Hills if they want to go over your particular case. But again, I am not being paid, sponsored, anything like that. As a matter of fact, I might be doing this out of a little bit of spite. I just got a comment this morning, though. There's a pet food puzzle guy in the pocket of Hills. And well, if I'm in their pocket, I'm not getting any money out of it, that's for sure. But I do love their diets, I have to say. And I try to be fair to all the diets out there. But again, I know there's lots of feline fans out there, and I know you appreciate my videos because you don't see a lot of cat videos. So here's one that take to heart. If you're seeing those behavior changes, talk to your vet, find out about trying it. There really is no science diet version of this diet, so I can't refer you to a science diet version, but it's in canned and dry. And I would love to hear from anybody that's used it and has seen great results, or if you start using it because of this video, please make sure you come back and comment. But it's just great science all put into one food, and it's a great way to keep your cat healthy, and not just healthy and alive with renal disease, but healthy and alive with more mobility and feeling better and younger. And wouldn't we all want that, right? All right, so I hope that helps, and I will catch you on the next video, guys. Take care.